The film is set in an alternate reality Earth. In 1899, the Martians launched an unprovoked attack on the major nations of the world. In Leeds, England, 10-year-old Eric Wells watches in horror as a Martian tripod lays waste to his city and then kills his parents. But before it can kill him, the Martian tripod suddenly keels forward and crashes into the ground. Over 140 million people were killed by the Martians, and many of the great cities of the world were destroyed until the Martians were killed off by Earth's bacteria, against which the Martians had no defense. 15 years later, in Manhattan, New York City in 1914, the world has seen radical change and development. It has become a dieselpunk, steampunk-like world, where Earth is at the potent onset of the Great War as the European nations' fragile alliance begins to shatter. A now 25-year-old Eric Wells is captain of a tripod squad for the ARES Allied Resistance Earth Squadrons organization. Alongside American Lieutenant Jennifer Carter, Irish Corporal Patrick O'Brien, Canadian Sergeant Abraham Douglas, and Malayan Lieutenant Raja Iskandar Shah. ARES is commanded by strict Russian General Sergei Kuznetsov, who lost his family to the Martians in 1899 at St. Petersburg, leaving only his son Dmitry left, Secretary of War Theodore Roosevelt, who forsook a Secon D term as President of the United States, and Professor Nikola Tesla, an enigmatic Serbian scientist who reverse-engineered the technology from the first failed invasion of the Martians and created ARES weapons and vehicles. Eric and his team received the first of a new type of steam-powered, Achilles-class battle tripod, 65 feet tall, armed with heavy machine guns and 6 light rockets, a heat ray and an 88mm cannon, who nicknames his new tripod, the Goliath. But as his crew are preparing to engage another group of tripods in a simulated war game against Japanese Captain Sakai, the ARES alliance is threatened by the onset of the Great War when Archduke Franz Ferdinand is assassinated in Sarajevo. The members of ARES are all called back to their respective countries in preparation for the coming war. But Eric, outraged at the stupidity of the human politicians and leaders, convinces everyone to stay and prepare for the coming Martian invasion. This proves to be advantageous, as a second, more ruthless, Martian invasion begins, using more advanced, 100-foot-tall, heat-ray spewing, tripod battle machines, and are now immune to Earth's bacteria. The Martians first attack the war games and decimate many of ARES's forces until they themselves are destroyed by Eric and his team. But, according to General Kuznetsov at the debrief, that was just a probing attack to judge ARES combat potential as the real invasion began. The Martians landed on various countries and ARES are deployed to repel the invasion. General Kuznetsov sets an ambush or some of the tripods, and on knowing 3 tripods had broke off, sends Eric's team to hunt the 3 tripods. Eric and his team destroys 2 tripods with the aid of the militia, with only Eric's crew and Wilson, a member of the militia, surviving the encounter. Wilson leads Eric to a factory which the Martians are using as a base. They discover that the Martians are capturing and harvesting humans and building weapons for the invasion. The prisoners are rescued and the factory then destroyed. The Leviathan, ARES's flying warship, then arrives to evacuate the team. General Kuznetsov asks Eric that the attacks were a feint to draw out ARES's forces out of New York, and the Martians had attacked ARES's base in New York. New York is overrun, with Roosevelt holding the ARES's base. The Martians breach the base and the Leviathan and Agamemnon, ARES's other floating warship, arrive to relieve the siege, and Roosevelt regains the base. Together, they destroy all the Martians in New York. As they are celebrating their victory, a large Martian spacecraft emerges from the waters near Liberty Island in New York Harbor. The spacecraft attacks ARES's base with devastating effects with its heat rays. Leviathan and Agamemnon concentrate their attacks on the Martian spacecraft, which causes it to attack both warships. Agamemnon is then destroyed in a heat ray attack. The Leviathan flies low to avoid the heat rays while trying to get closer to it. A destroyed building falls on the Leviathan's bridge and caused it to crash to the buildings on its side. The crash causes Dmitri to fall off the bridge, but he manages to cling to the side of the warship. General Kushnerov attempts to save his son, but he lets go of General Kushnerov's hands to allow General Kushnerov to regain control of the Leviathan. He calls out to General Kushnerov, "I love you, father," as he falls to his death. General Kushnerov regains control of the Leviathan and steers the warship in a collision course with the Martian spacecraft. They collide together and are destroyed, ending the invasion. Roosevelt rallies the survivors to rebuild Earth and bring the war to Mars.